Welcome once again to Middle of the Road, a podcast for runners and would-be runners with busy schedules and, let's face it, big appetites. He's here again, probably because we record in his house, but I'd like to think he'd show up anyway. It's UR1. How's it going, man?
I'm good, thank you. And you love that intro, don't you?
Yeah.
The big appetite, you always have to have that.
I think it kind of makes me feel at home. It makes me feel like I'm admitting something that I've kept a dark secret for many years. But yeah, I like to eat a lot.
I think we all do.
We all do. What are we doing today?
I think today, going from the last week's episode, we're talking about, now this is your second week.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you maintain this? And kind of discussing about, the environment that you run in. So part of maintaining this is also establishing, say, like if you're living in a city, how do you continue that living in a city, or if you're out in the countryside, the more rural areas? And
so I guess we did week 0, we did getting started. Even before getting started, week 1 we did,
your first one. Yeah.
Done your first week, you're having a look at what you've done, you're kind of adjusting things you need to. This is really kind of, where do we go from here? It's, if you live in the city, how am I going to keep myself motivated? If I live out in the sticks, how am I going to keep myself motivated?
Yeah.
Essentially. We normally start up with a little catch-up of how we're doing. You've normally done more than me, so let's maybe start with you.
Me?
What have you done this week, man?
So apart from the usual, I think we kind of gotten used to the usual things that I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done the run on the Tuesday and Saturday, but this week I also done a bit of digging.
Bit of digging?
Yeah.
Explain.
Exactly. And I have to be honest, it is a lot of work digging.
So you were digging out in your sister's garden, right?
Yeah, I went around to my sister's to dig some posts. So these posts were like about roughly a meter long.
Uh-huh.
But like imagine like a meter, so picture them a meter long.
Yeah.
And they're completely
submerged
in the ground, and there's probably about 10 centimeters above.
Right.
So you just had to dig all the way down. And then
so
part of the way down it was just like it's clay at the bottom.
Mm.
But that was pretty hard work. It worked everything. The arms.
The thing
backs.
is, neither of us really like the gym, and we don't make any bones about that. We're pretty vocal with our not liking the gym that much. So it's pretty good for you to change it up and do that. And I bet you probably felt pretty brutally savage afterwards.
Exactly, and that's why I don't go to the gym.
Exactly, yeah. But
it almost proves that I do not go to the gym.
Did you sweat more digging than you would running?
Yeah,
you're probably out in the sun as well, to be fair, so it's pretty tough. But that's the kind of thing, it's good to mix it up a little bit.
But actually, randomly, so a little side thing I do play the game Pokemon Go. So one thing I noticed this week was, I went for...
So Pokemon Go, just in case anyone... I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, but it's an augmented reality game where you walk around and on your phone screen or whatever, you see the Pokemon and you can catch them in kind of...
Yeah, on your phone.
On your phone, yeah.
For those who don't know Pokemon, essentially you catch like a yellow rat-like creature.
Yeah, little monsters, you catch them, you can level them up.
And all other details.
Yeah.
But essentially you walk a lot. So what I realised was I didn't deliberately intend to do this, but I weighed myself before I headed out. So as you know, the summer so far has been actually pretty good, actually.
Yeah, we're in the UK. Across Europe, it's been pretty insane.
Yeah, it's even more like. Yeah. At the moment, we've been like hitting like 30 degrees each of the days.
Unheard of, yeah.
So I walked out and I went for probably about 2 hours.
Uh-huh.
And when I came back, I was just curious, so I decided to weigh myself because I knew I weighed myself before I headed out.
Yeah.
And I lost 1 kilo in weight, which I was assuming it's just
because
I didn't eat or drink.
That's
probably... So I just sweated. So
wow.
So I guess it kind of gives people an idea of just like almost like be cautious.
100% be cautious, because they always say when you do a running event in the summer, they always like make sure you stay hydrated. And it's quite easy to be like, I know my body, shut up. But that 1 kilo just in fluids.
Yeah, and I was just walking.
From a walk.
So I wasn't running or anything or exerting too much. I came back, I felt good. But yeah, I weighed myself. I was like 1 kilo less.
Thing is though, mate, like you could be running in the heat and you get offered drinks on your way around. You think, I'm not going to do that because it will slow me down. But you could just full on faint from that.
Yeah.
So it's key to keep hydrated. I think there is a case for being not too hydrated, because there is a kind of, you can be too hydrated, but definitely don't do that.
Yeah, I think there are some stories about people who hydrate too much and kind of get a bit extra fluids in. I think it's like you get extra fluids in your brain. And
really?
Yeah, I think there was this one lady who she drank so much during the London Marathon that she collapsed because her brain slightly swelled because she had a bit too much water. But she was literally drinking like excessively every 5 minutes. But of course that was based on advice. You don't know how much you should drink, but you should drink like a slight sip, but not.
Yeah, you're not going to be chugging a pint of water every mile away.
So, I mean, I think she was going on a cautious side, but, you never know how these actually affect you.
But that's nuts. You lost a kilo in that short space of time. I've not been... I've been alright this week. I played football as usual, and I did actually get a run in, which I think is the first run that I've done since we've done this podcast. Exactly, thanks. It kind of came to my attention that it was the 1st of August, so I thought, okay, what better time to start working towards my next event than at the start of the month? So I did almost a 6 mile run. It was good. It was too hot, but it did feel good, and I did feel those endorphins for a little while afterwards. But so yeah, it kind of. I got an email about my marathon entry, which is next April, which is a far way off. Yeah. But I've kind of consciously made an effort to start making some small changes.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
We'll get there. 6 mile run, mate. Almost. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. It was good. This is week 0 for you for that marathon. But then again, you actually got the you got one.
So you got the Bournemouth half in October, Bath half in March.
Oh, Bath! You didn't mention that
Bath
one.
half, yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute. You got one in March, so that's really close to your London one, isn't it?
London's end of April, so it'll be a good month and a bit before.
You sure?
Yeah, mate. You did Gatwick half just before you did the London.
Yeah, but that was...
Not London.
Okay,
wait, London?
Fair enough.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh,
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Exactly. I'll get a few in before then. Okay. So we've both done something, which bodes pretty well for us as the hosts of this podcast. What we're doing today is kind of talking about, you've been running for a couple of weeks. You're getting more of an idea now of what your preferences are, what motivates you, what doesn't motivate you. I think you mentioned it beforehand, you are to me off air, was about where do you run? So what are the options?
Yeah, I think especially when you're trying to keep your running up, so we thought, I don't know, I think sometimes it can be a bit of a debate when it comes to this, like. So to keep it up, you kind of think of where you're running in, the environment. So I think I want to discuss about, whether running on a treadmill, running on, in urban environments, so that will be like either road running or, even running as simple as on the pavement. And then all the way to the opposite end is those in rural settings. They run on the trail, like they call it trail running. Or essentially countryside running.
Yeah, I think a good way. I personally would start off by because there's always a lot of debate about running on the treadmill. There's the argument that runners will give you. They'll always have people that say to you, "Oh, running on the treadmill. As soon as if you only run on the treadmill in the gym, you'll get outside and you'll be useless because you won't have trained on." Some people won't put an incline on their treadmill program and they'll just be running flat for an hour or whatever.
Yeah,
and it does help you. It almost helps you to keep going.
Yeah, it does kind of help you to keep going, but I don't necessarily agree completely that it. I don't know. You might feel the same that it doesn't.
I don't. It's good fitness. If you're going to the gym and you're motivated to go to the gym anyway, if you're someone who likes to work out at the gym, that's where you work out, and you can go on the treadmill. That's better than nothing.
I just find it monotonous. That's the big problem with me.
I mean, for me, I have to have a good playlist on my phone to be able to run on the treadmill. But it is good. It's a good challenge because you can whack the speed up real high, and do interval training. So sprint followed by dropping the speed right down to a sprint again to dropping the speed right down, and that's good.
Yeah, they're starting to develop the training programs settings on there. It's starting to develop quite well. So think they got a few things, and also in general, I think especially if you live in really built up areas. So say, you know, the classic example is if you live in London. You know, there's not many places you can run in.
No, if you're not near to one of the parks.
Yeah, I think there's lots of 24-hour gyms that pop up. I don't know if you ever. I've not used one. I've used the gym in general before, but I've not used these new.
Yeah, I mean, I used to where I used to live in London. There was a 24-hour gym kind of outside my work, so I would if I worked till fairly late in the evening, I would do that rather than going home and running outside at like 10 in the evening. Not saying that where I was living was dodgy, but I didn't really want to go out in the pitch black and run. What
did you think? Like some people that I spoke to at my work. So at our work, we have an on-site gym,
right?
And some people said that although they like to use the gym, but they just feel it associates with work because it's there at work. So they want to like go away completely from home to use the gym there. I mean, did you find that at all, or not? Not really?
I've never been someone that can work out at lunch.
Not necessarily at lunch, but say like if after work. If it was in the area that you because
that wouldn't be a problem with me. That wouldn't be a problem because I wouldn't be like working out at my desk.
Yeah,
it would be a gym. It would still be a gym, and I'd still be getting that endorphin hit. For me, that wouldn't be a problem. But I do get that some people like to.
Some people are a little bit. They have that little bit that because they're near their work.
Yeah,
they're kind of like thinking. But I know I work, so I associate it with my work.
And I guess you do see like people you work with, and it's like some people like to really be in their own head and in the zone. And you're listening to a good playlist on your phone, and then someone comes up to you and wants to talk to you about work. Yeah. I can see how that would be a distraction. But for me, I've mentioned it before. I really struggle with if I finish work and then have to travel before I get home.
Okay. Yeah.
My motivation decreases as I travel. So
especially on those tubes.
Yeah. The quicker I can get into an exercise scenario after I've left my desk, the better. So for me, having an on-site gym is really good. Yeah. But I can see why some people would feel like it's distracting.
Yeah. I guess before moving on to the other areas, what do you think? I've seen a couple on the treadmills where you know like you get to some of them you actually get to put like the TV on. Like an actual TV in front of the screen, so you can watch the BBC or ITV.
Or YouTube or something.
But other ones, you which I find a little bit unusual, I've tried it once or twice, you actually get to say, oh, I want to run in California, like a specific route. Have you ever, I don't know if you ever tried that yourself, but I found those like, it's quite good, but a bit weird, because of course when you run faster, they're just speeding the camera up.
Yeah.
So it feels a little bit weird.
I've seen ones as well. This is quite a good topic actually, because I've seen ones as well. Also with the static bikes in gyms as well. What do you call that? Is it a static bike?
Exercise bike.
Yeah, there we go. New world. I've seen ones where on the screen you've got like a thing where you're almost in a race and you're catching up with other people as you run. But for some reason, I guess that hasn't kind of taken off yet, because I think if they made it more like a video game, I think I'd be quite up for that. So if when I was running along on the treadmill, I was catching up with people on the screen, on the route, and then if I wanted to catch up with someone who was ahead of me, I could up my pace.
Okay.
I'd be well up for that. But
sorry, I think I was thinking more. I was thinking more 8-bit, like there's like question mark blocks.
Yeah, but mate, that's the thing. The ones that I've done have been really like old school, and I question how the technology hasn't caught up. But I guess there must be no demand for it. But like you were saying, like where you run in like a different environment and it just speeds up.
Yeah,
I swear they could evolve that technology.
It is developing, but
that'd be awesome. If it was a video game scenario where I was getting a top score, I'd be well up for that. That like taps into your like competitive element.
So like a big score in the background where it displays everyone's scores.
Or like if you're with your mates at the gym, and there are 4 of you, and you could all compete against each other.
Fair enough.
That'd be awesome, because I think that naturally that's motivating. That's like really just tapping into your competitive side. But I don't know. But I guess to summarise, I don't think you can write off running in the gym as useless. Because it doesn't get you used to kind of running outside with wind and weather factors and things. But at the end of the day, you're running and you're burning calories and you're training your legs to keep going.
Yeah, I think if you have a certain, I think it does take a certain mindset. I don't think it's for everyone. I think some people do go there and maybe force themselves because they know it keeps them fit.
Yeah.
As you said, I think it does have all the health benefits as well.
I would, on the flip side, though, I would say if you're going to do a 5K or a 10K or a half or whatever outside, I definitely wouldn't do 100% of my training on the treadmill. I would definitely get outside at least for a few of my runs. Otherwise, it's going to come as a big shock.
Yeah.
When you get outside, if it's raining or if it's windy, you're suddenly going about, wow.
Okay, so I guess if we move on a little bit to almost like urban running.
Yeah.
So say you're in a city, you're not quite liking the gym. So I've not personally... I've done it a little bit, but of course I've run through more small towns rather than cities. It's like pavement and road running.
Yeah.
So what's kind of your take on this? Your kind of opinion? Because I know you lived in London. You've done so basically we both signed up to the same app. So I've seen you run in the city a little bit.
I think for me, I'm someone that needs, and a lot of people. I think I won't be alone in this. I need a fairly interesting setting to run around. Whereas where I was living in the north of London, it was literally just neighbourhoods and shops. So it wasn't an interesting route visually. So I had to really motivate myself to do it and dig deep. Whereas, if I was running in Richmond Park or, in Hyde Park or somewhere like that, it would be a lot easier to get distracted and see the beauty of the surroundings and keep myself going. Whereas I remember in North London, sometimes it was a real slog because I was literally just running past like
terrace houses
or running over dual carriageways or motorways. And it's tough because unless you're really into it in that moment or you really want to burn off some steam from work, you're not getting anything visually out of it. There's nothing interesting to see. And also as well, when you're in a big city, it's sometimes dangerous to have your headphones in because, cars and people, there's loads of people around you having to constantly say excuse me and like coming through and things like that. It's tough.
Have you ever run during like really busy periods?
Yeah.
Or not really?
Yeah, so I've run past kind of tube stations in London when I've got home already but people are still coming back.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a pain because you can't, if you're trying to get a specific time or keep to a specific pace.
Although he says pain, as a commuter, we think the opposite. He's a pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's the thing. You're getting in the way of people. They're getting in the way of you. You're not. For me, when I go on a run, I like to zone out, look at the scenery, listen to my music.
Yeah.
And if you're dodging people constantly and trying not to trip over, which in London I've never tripped over more than in London.
Yeah.
Fully tried to get out of the way of someone and properly turned on my ankle and fell straight to the floor. I've never done that elsewhere apart from in London.
Those Japanese tourists,
people taking
look
pictures,
out for them,
people taking photos, and then you slide past them. But
at least you photobombed them pictures.
Exactly, just bleeding profusely on the floor. But it's a necessity sometimes if you live in that kind of area. But it can be stressful when you can't really zone out and enjoy your run, and B, we'll get onto it a bit more in weeks to come. But running on pavement is not as kind on your knees.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I can understand that. I think I don't know if you ever done. I've only done it cycling. Really early in the morning, I went to an event in London. So there was like a Prudential Ride London.
So how many miles is that?
That was 100 miles.
Yeah.
But as I was cycling to the event, this was at 5:30 in the morning. So I was going through like Oxford Circus and stuff. Actually,
so the busiest part of London for people that don't live in London.
Yeah. So and when I was going through there, it was like dead empty. So this is kind of like where you see the street sweeper in the background. So it's that kind of empty, and you get to see the first kind of people kind of coming through that starts to shift of the day. And actually, it was really nice. Just I don't know if you ever run that early before in the day.
I think I did a winter series run in London around
At those times, you get to appreciate just almost like the other side of London when it's just quiet and almost...
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's different. And again, you've got more room to enjoy what you're doing. And you're not having to think about dodging people, so you can actually focus on what's around you. No, I think a lot of people do run early morning for that reason, who live in the city.
Yeah. Or even evening.
Or late at night.
Just saying
Yeah, I mean, you just adapt to what you can do. I mean, if I had the absolute option of running anywhere, I would obviously run in the countryside for me.
Yeah.
But again, we said about running on roads being a pain on your knees. Same again, if you run in the countryside where the ground's uneven and you're actually off paths, you've got the problem of potentially like twisting an ankle in a dip or something like that.
Yeah, there is a problem. It's kind of like, it's one of those things. It's really weird because it's the same with road running. Because road running is meant to be, although it's harsh on your knees, but if you do it correctly and not as excessively at the start, it does build your knee strength. And it's the same with supposedly with trail running and running in the countryside. Like just to get your, it's almost like your ankle muscles just get used to the slight little differences.
Yeah.
So it builds up your ankle muscles a little bit.
And you almost anticipate it a bit more as well, and you kind of adjust. It helps you. I think it helps you balance if you're running in real like lumpy terrain.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It helps your knees actually, supposedly trail running, because the impact's slightly less on your knees, but even though it's more on your ankles, so it's almost like the complete opposite.
But I mean, if you're kind of in an area that really is hilly or uneven or really off road, you may have to consider getting trail running shoes. Because I remember I did an event called Hell Runner, which is in the south of England in Aldershot, a few years in a row. I haven't done it for a while now because it's brutal. But I actually had to buy trail shoes for that because the route was so muddy and so loose, like gravel and stuff, that normal road trainers wouldn't cut it. So I'd say if you do live in an area like, I don't know, if you're in Yorkshire in the north of England or if you're in the Highlands of Scotland, do again go back to your shoe choice and see and kind of assess whether normal running shoes are giving you the grip that you need or the ankle support that you need, because you can get trail shoes that have slightly higher ankle support. Yeah. Because if you twist your ankle, that's game over for quite a while. So
I've not personally myself, I've not had like trail shoes or trail running, but I do know that probably the time when it's kind of like the worst is when it rains, really, when it gets really almost like sloshy or sludgy, the mud, and it kind of like sticks to your feet, and it almost feels like that's taking all the energy out of you.
Yeah, 100%. But the good thing about trail shoes, I'm a big fan of trail shoes because they don't impact you running on road. They just help you on trail. So it's not like you're sacrificing your road running for your trail running.
Yeah.
They're just good all-round shoes. They're a bit heavier, but they're good all round. So I'm a big fan. So it's worth looking into if you do live somewhere kind of out in the sticks or whatever.
Yeah, but so I guess with trail running, I guess the biggest thing for me, of course, is just the scenery. So you get to find some fantastic places when you're running out in the countryside. So I think one of the routes that I run when I go to run to work, you pass like several fields along the way, and you know, especially when the sun is rising in the background, it's slightly orange, and then you got the whole almost like farmland and countryside in the background. It's really majestic in a way, and you kind of get, because also you're running and you're not like just driving past it, you almost get time to appreciate that.
Yeah, and also when you're running outside as well, you get it takes your mind away from the fact that you're running, and it makes it a whole new experience of just enjoyment.
Yeah.
You can literally just zone out and enjoy the countryside, something that you wouldn't get if you're running in the city. And you get all the smells of the countryside, and you get the fresh air advantage of that you wouldn't get in the gym.
Some smells are good or bad.
Yeah, exactly, if you're running through farmland. But yeah, for me, it's just the more scenic the route is, the less I think about the fact that I'm running. And it just motivates me to get out and enjoy the sun or enjoy fresh air. But I can see why you do it on the way to work, like a scenic route.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite nice, scenic, and although sometimes I think I do understand it. Some days you're kind of like, you know, like you're churning through it and you kind of like, I just want to get this run over and done with. And then you just look at the scenery and you're just like, you know what? Why am I doing this? I don't even I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're looking at it through summer goggles as well, aren't we? Because I mean, we're completely forgetting, because it's so hot at the moment, you almost forget that it does get cold as hell. And that is completely... We'll talk about that when winter comes.
Yeah.
But I mean, winter running, I quite like it, personally.
I don't mind it. I think it depends.
But
really
some
depends, but
people I speak to, as soon as it gets to winter, they're straight in the gym on the treadmill.
Yeah, but definitely, I think for another day, we can definitely talk about motivations for winter running.
Yeah, summer running, the weather's good. I think the main obstacle to your going running is probably, hey, I could just go to a beer garden. Do you know what I mean?
Run to one.
Yeah, run to one. Why not?
Exactly.
Ale trail.
So which one out of?
So yeah, what's your verdict? What's your favourite? Gym, pavement, or trail?
So if I was to rank them, then unfortunately, gym would be my last one.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to say the sort of road or pavement one to be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
If it was really good, like imagine, I could picture myself in London. Imagine just running past like Big Ben and Trafalgar Square every day. And then trail running to be in the middle. I guess that'd be my.
That'd be your
preference.
three.
That'd be my preference. That order.
See, for me, gym at the end. I'm not kind of relegating it right. I'm not writing it off because it is useful. But I would definitely put trail running first. It's the reason why I kind of fell in love with running to start with. Kind of really losing yourself in the countryside and being outdoors and being away from other people and not having to dodge past cars and wait for cars and lorries and people kind of telling you to get out of the way because you're running on the pavement. For me, 100% trail running. If you haven't tried trail running and running out in the countryside, give it a go.
Yeah.
Would be my tip.
Yeah.
So aside from where you're running, you know, you're progressing through the weeks of your schedule. You're starting to get to know how your body reacts to things, how quick you can run. You know, do you invest in I guess we could look at, do you invest in a stopwatch or a sports watch? Or do you just run based on feeling? Maybe you could kind of summarise that a bit, what we kind of mean by I don't know, real time versus feel time or something like that, or kind of.
Yeah, so I think the best way is to picture a 5k and you want to run at a set amount of time. So say like if you're doing a timed run, we'll just use 30 minutes as an example. So say you run 5k and you run in, say your first time is you run in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then each time you just time yourself. So you constantly just look at your stopwatch halfway. Are you 15 minutes through it? And then you just kind of like, almost like regimen, you hit certain points at certain times. So you could run a slower first half. And run a faster.
Yeah.
Well, feel is a completely different aspect. So although you could say you comfortably run 30 minutes every single time,
mm-hmm.
but you almost like feel your way. So you look at, are you tired or are you feeling good, and you run to that effort level that you're at.
Yeah, so you can kind of think of it almost like a percentage of your max effort.
Yeah, so see, some people say like, oh, it's 80% of your max effort.
Yeah, so 100% would be literally an all-out sprint.
Yes.
Yeah. So that I think when I used to run at school, they used to say, oh, you should be running at like 2/3 of your top pace, or 80%, like you said, 80% of your top pace.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I think when you get to know how quickly you can do something and how you feel, you can run by feel, can't you?
Yeah, you can run by. I think a lot of people do timed is because feel takes a lot longer to get used to. Yeah. Because of course, you can't really do feel unless you've done like at least 5 or 6 runs under your belt.
Yeah, 100%.
Because otherwise, I think, especially feel after the first one, you could easily feel good after 5 minutes, and then you realise you've got 25 minutes to go.
Yeah. It's kind of like anyone can feel when they're tired and when they're not tired. But it's getting those little subtle changes in of, okay, I can feel that I did that mile a little bit quick.
Yeah.
Or kind of when we'll often say, me and you will often say to each other, oh yeah, I felt the first 2 miles of that half marathon. I really felt the first 2 miles. I really felt kind of that I had to find my pace.
Yeah,
find my comfortable pace.
Slow yourself down, or.
Because I don't know about you, when I first started running kind of distance runs, half marathons, I didn't use a stopwatch for years.
Yeah.
I did it purely on how I felt I was doing. Now and again, I'd ask someone else in the race as I was going past them what time we were at.
Yeah.
But I could genuinely tell how my pace was. If I was overtaking people, I knew that I'd kind of sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
If people were overtaking me, I knew that I was kind of maybe lagging.
Yeah, I think unless you're running... The thing is, unless you're running by yourself, I think sometimes you even feel when you're running in a group, it can be a bit... Because you sometimes pace against someone.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that someone knows how they're doing throughout the whole way through.
Yeah.
And you're just pacing yourself against them. So, but in the end, I mean, for me, I'm a person that just relies on how I feel throughout the whole thing. But it can backfire though.
Yeah, it can.
I think I remember we did one park. There was one park run that we did, and at the end of it, I don't know if you felt the same, but I
felt awesome.
I don't know if I also convinced you as well. I thought we did broke our PBs by 30 seconds.
The thing is, I believe you though, because I finished strong. I managed to sprint, and I didn't feel that tired. I felt like I'd bossed it, and you also thought like you'd bossed it.
Yeah,
but we were quite a bit slower than we thought.
We were like a minute slower.
A minute slower, but that's the thing. Sometimes you cannot tell. And I think the thing was, we were on a new route, weren't we? We'd gone to a new park run that we hadn't done before, or we'd only done a couple of times.
Maybe.
And that's the thing. You need to put the miles in to start knowing, to get that sense and that instinct for how quickly you're going. Because I recently, in the last couple of years, I've started using a stopwatch for half marathons. Because I found as I've got older and not naturally as fit as I was when I was 17 or 18, I now need a bit of a guide. Because I've done a couple of runs in the past 5 years where I've gone off way too quick in the first 5 miles, thinking that I'm 17 again, and absolutely burnt out after 5 miles.
Yeah.
So also, now I have to pace myself.
Yeah.
So I'll go into a run and be like, right, I'm going to try and stick to, I don't know,
8 minute, 9 minute miles.
8 minute miles for as long as I can. So as long as I can keep to 8 minute miles, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But then give myself a bit of leeway if I do drop down to 9 or 10 minute miles, I'm still going to be on track. And you do the maths in your head as you're going around. So you pass a 3 mile mark and you're like, I should be on 24 minutes or there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I was too quick, so I've got 30 seconds leeway.
And some people say, how could you do maths while you run? Don't worry, you've got plenty of time to do.
You're better off doing maths and thinking about your legs, because, anything you can kind of concentrate on. But, I mean, so you're very much in the field camp.
Yeah, on a side note with the timer, pro tip is to get a stopwatch that you can actually use, because your one is like a nightmare. You almost have to, it's like a Pandora's box. You have to press 6 or 7 buttons.
It's proper analog style, not analog, but it's old school digital watch.
Yeah, you have to press every single button, and
to
there's
reset
6 buttons.
There's a shop here in the UK, which is a French shop actually, that came over from France, called Decathlon, which is cheap exercise gear, which is awesome. But you literally have to press all 4 of the buttons around the watch to reset it, and sometimes I have to get UR to press 2 of them, whilst I press 2 of them, because it's just awkward.
I remember the first time I did it. Then what happened? We resetted it, and then it was just like, oh, have I done it? And then we just press start and go, oh yeah, we've done it. And then we had to reset it again.
Yeah, so get a stopwatch that's pretty easy to use, because the last thing you want is to mess up your timing, and then you get 4 miles in and you've accidentally stopped it.
Yeah, and for your running buddies to run off.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good one actually, with the instinct thing, is running with someone else who you know is roughly going for the same time as you. Or if they have an official pace kind of runners at the event. That's quite nice. That kind of trains you to get used to feeling out the pace, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for the first couple of miles.
Yeah.
Even in 5K events, just the first couple of... You get to understand their pace, because sometimes, I do feel sorry for pacemakers, because they are doing kind of like a role for you, but there was one time when a pacemaker... He was running it. He was being very, very regimented to hit a certain time. And then about, I think it was about 7-8 miles in, he then randomly just turned around to us and goes, I'm really sorry. And he just walked off to the side.
Really?
He actually just completely...
Or just burned out.
Just burned out. And then, but luckily, I think a lot of us, because he was running at such a regiment kind of pacing, we all just kept to it and then got there in the end.
That's a brutal job though, because to be able to stick to that exact timing, you got to be pretty well trained to do that.
Yeah, because especially if you're on the day, I don't know about him, but he probably didn't feel that great, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd feel pressured to keep up to that pace. Nah, not for me, mate. But yeah, those pacing events, sometimes if you do park run, sometimes the bigger park runs will do a pacing event. Give it a go.
Yeah.
Ditch the stopwatch and just follow someone and see how it suits you. Like it's completely. I would say try both. Try the feel technique. Try the real time technique.
Yeah, I think for me the pro with the feel is the fact that you get to almost like understand yourself a bit more. You it's almost like not necessarily to go, oh, I know I can't push myself harder, but it depends on how you like to do your training. If you start running and you feel it a little bit harder, but you know, oh, maybe I could push a little bit just to get over the line. Or if you know you're feeling hard, you go, okay, maybe I've been training a bit too hard this week, so I can just try and get to the end.
Yeah.
And then know that you've done enough for that week.
Yeah, for me, I think the feel argument is in the same camp as not always running with music. I think it's along the same lines. So like, I know people that have to run with music, have to, and they rely on that beat and that playlist to get them through it. I would say in the same way that I wouldn't always run with a stopwatch, I would, if you give it, you should give a go at the field technique. Also have a go at running without music, just because one day your music might run out, your phone might run out of battery.
Yeah,
your phone might be broken. You might not bring it with you. Just train yourself to adapt
to all environments.
Yeah, and it's good to be able to, because it's such a psychological thing running. It's good to be able to get inside your own head and control what you're doing and keep yourself running without the aid of kind of music and stuff. Because some days, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to battle yourself, and that's the toughest battle.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah.
Cool. So let us know in the comments if you're in the field camp or in the real camp, and also what your favourite running environment is. If you're an urban runner, if you like running out in the sticks, or if you're a gym rat and you're just on the treadmill 24/7. Let us know, because you might disagree, in which case make sure you disagree in the comments.
Yeah.
Don't keep it to yourself. What are we doing on our next episode?
So I think on our next episode, I think it kind of comes along nicely with both of us actually, is almost like interruptions that come through your training plan. So I know some people like go on a training plan and just be very regiment and go, this is what I'm doing week 1, week 2, or
put it right to the forefront of what they're doing.
But sometimes there's some things that you just can't help and just get in the way. It could be something as simple as you on an eating plan, and then in the end your friend has a birthday and you're all invited out, and sometimes you just can't resist and just have like a burger salad. And then other things is just like, I think even both of us, like we're actually, I'm off for a week.
Yeah.
Like a holiday. Everyone takes annual leave.
Yeah.
Once a year, and you just can't like just say, oh, okay, actually I'm just gonna plan a whole running scheme while I'm on holiday.
Yeah. I think it's I'm off 2 weeks. You're off for a week. It's like, where's the balance? You want to stay active. You don't want to completely take your foot off the gas, because it's going to be harder when you come back, but at the same time, you want to enjoy yourself. Yeah, and
I think we'll go a little bit deeper in terms of that, and just enjoy how we deal with it, should we even plan for it?
Yeah. Again, it's like two camps of thinking. Do you plan for interruptions, or do you just go with the flow?
Yeah.
But we'll save that for after the holidays. Have you got a quote to finish up on?
Yeah, I actually got a quote, and this time I haven't actually...
To be honest, mate, yeah, you tell me them sometimes and I forget, so it's as if it's a surprise. But hit me.
So here's the quote for today. Slow runners make fast runners look good. You're welcome.
Slow runners make fast runners look good. You're welcome. Okay.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is there's room in the world for all speeds of runner.
Exactly. Fast runners are there just to try and hit their PBs.
Yep.
Slow runners are there to get that run in and make fast runners look good.
Hey, if you're a hare or if you're a tortoise, doesn't matter.
There's a place for you.
There's a place for you, and that place is in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
See you next week, guys. Or see you next time after the holidays. Enjoy.